Hi, Tom Cooper here. Welcome to our third video in the Hotshot to Head Honcho series. Now, as I mentioned to you, I spent years as a technical professional, and I was frustrated because I watched others moving up the ladder. As I studied, I learned why they moved up, and I learned what I could do about moving up too. And I had some great success in that area. And today, I want to share with you some of the things that I've learned. So as we get started, I just want you to take a minute to think about what would it be like if you worked in a place where people really listened to what you had to say, where people cooperated with you on your projects. Maybe they even look forward to working with you. What if they did work for you before they did work for other leaders or other project managers in the organization? Well, today we're going to talk about how to make that a reality. Now, in this series, we've been talking about how the key to your success, it lies in more than just technical skill. You've got technical skill, but the secret to real achievement is not only that technical area, but also learning about your business. And today we're going to talk about people. How can you be more effective at influencing people? Now, I know I've worked with technical folks my whole career, and I know an awful lot of you might be thinking, people skills? Who has time for all that nonsense? And maybe you would use words other than nonsense. All that political junk. Isn't that just for the kiss-ups and the game players who get rewarded? I mean, isn't there just it's ridiculous, right? Well, I used to think that too. In fact, I thought that the less technically competent people, they just knew somebody, or they knew where the bodies were buried, and essentially they were given roles of power in the organization that they frankly just didn't deserve because they weren't technically smart enough. What I didn't get, what I really didn't understand, was the reason I wasn't winning that game is I was playing the wrong game. Think of it like this. Let's say that I was a pretty good chess player, but I was trying to succeed on the football field. Both of those games have strategy and tactics, but the rules are entirely different. And when you play the game by the wrong rules, you are going to get crushed. And that is exactly what was happening to me. Man, think about the mistakes that I made. You know, it happened to me when I insulted the woman president of the company I worked for because I thought she just didn't get it. I said it to her face. Ugh. It happened. I was in a sales presentation with a big consulting firm, and I was talking to the prospective client, and I told the truth about how hard it was going to be to implement a proposed toolkit. You should have seen the sales guys. Strangely, they didn't invite me back to the next meeting. It happened when I made fun of my boss because he fell asleep in a meeting. Oh, man. When it comes to big mistakes dealing with people, I think I've made every single one. And I want to spare you that pain. Leadership is influence. Nothing more and nothing less. Let me say that again. Leadership is influence. Nothing more and nothing less. And when you learn some keys to influencing others, it's going to change your thinking. Change thinking is going to change your behavior. And when you change your behavior, you're going to get better results. It's amazing. So it's important to remember that people matter. One of my mentors says, with one trifling exception, the world is made up of other people. Now, look, I get this. This is hard. I know it's hard. As a very skilled technical professional, I love the technology, and I was so frustrated that others didn't get it. And I can remember feeling like, why do I have to waste my time talking to these people who just don't get it? If they were smart enough, if they could just do their dumb job, well, here's the deal. Your pay is commensurate with the business value that you add to the organization. When you add more value, you get more pay. Not only that, but the great news is it's not even a hard fight. See, when leaders get the picture, when they understand that you get the business and the technology and the people, they really value it because almost nobody does that. Almost nobody has that broad of a perspective. So what can you do? Well, today I want to share with you 3 key questions that you'll need to answer to become a powerful influencer. So what are the 3 questions? They are, do you care for me? Can you help me? Can I trust you? Now, I've got a whole day workshop just on these questions, so I'm not going to be able to really go in depth on these. But I want to hit the top of the waves with you. I want to just give you that big picture, that broad picture of what we're talking about. These questions, they're so important. And here's what I know. If you can answer yes to each of these questions, you will have tremendous influence. If you can answer yes, people are going to follow you anywhere. Now, I learned these questions many years ago, and it transformed my relationships with my team, and it improved the team performance. As I learned to connect with them and lead them, it was amazing. When I learned the questions, and then specifically what I had to do to answer those questions, I started to apply just those ideas at work. And what was incredible, my team started getting more done. We got higher profile projects. We got approval to hire more people. We added more value. And when I left, I've stayed in touch with my team, and one of my team members said, Tom, when you left, it was like the magic left. Now, look, you've watched enough of this video to know that I don't have any magical powers. The difference was the way that I answered these questions compared to other bosses. So let's walk through these one at a time. Do you care for me? Do you care for me? Now, I work with business people all the time, and I regularly ask them, has anybody here ever had a great boss? Now, generally, people will acknowledge that they've had a good boss. In fact, even sometimes they'll say they've had a great boss. And then I ask, well, how common is it? Boy, the room gets quiet. Well, then I dig in a little bit more and I ask, so tell me about your boss. What was it about that boss that made that boss so special? Now, I'll start to tell you some of the things I hear. I hear, well, I had authority to do things my way. Or I'll hear, she really looked out for me. She taught me things I needed to know. She really helped me grow. Now, even sometimes I'll hear, well, I knew why we were doing it, the work that we were doing, and I loved that. But do you know what comes up 100% of the time when I ask a group that question? What I hear every single time, people say something like this. Tom, my boss cared about things in my life outside of my work. Maybe they gave a birthday card to one of your kids, or they sent a sympathy card when somebody passed away or when a parent was sick. Maybe it's a book or an article, just something that shows you care about, that you know about things that they care about. So let's turn the corner and talk about, can you help me? Question number 2. Now this is a big one. People generally want to stretch, they want to grow. They're dying to achieve, and they need your help to get there. But how can you help them? Well, I had a boss one time who said, Tom, I want you to run the staff meeting. Now, was I ready for that? No. I did a terrible job. It was awful. But my boss taught me how to plan for a meeting, how to create an agenda, and how to stick with the agenda, how to manage the people in the meeting. These are a ton of little things that I needed to know, and I'm grateful to him to this day. I had another boss when my dad was dying, and he took me aside and he said, Tom, take all the time you need. Go take care of family. Work's going to be here when you get back. Did that help? Absolutely, it helped. It doesn't have to be huge, though. Can you help them learn a skill? Can you help them by caring about what they care about? Help with their kids' fundraiser for school. Maybe buy some candy bars from them. Help them have time to do something important to them. Maybe it's a charity or a cause that's really important. If your team knows that you care for them and that you can help them, it makes a huge difference. And now let's talk about question number 3. Can I trust you? Whew, man, this one is huge. My first job out of college, I'm standing in front of my boss, and he's on the phone with a customer, and he says, my guy already left. He should be there in about an hour. Now, I was the guy. The client was 2 hours away. Now, since my car couldn't go faster than light speed, there was no chance that I could make it. My boss lied to the client, and on top of that, he threw me under the bus. Because what was the client going to think when I showed up? He's going to say, where the heck have you been? You were supposed to be here an hour ago. I knew that day I couldn't trust him. That one conversation, and many others, but it affected every other interaction we ever had. So let me ask you, Can people trust you? Now, I'm not talking about in the big things. Of course, they ought to be able to trust you in the big things, but what about the little things? When you say a meeting's going to start at 10 o'clock, what time does it start? When you say you're going to be there, are you there? When you say, oh yeah, I'll follow up with you, do you follow up? Do you care for me? Can you help me? Can I trust you? These are the key questions you need to answer to have people want to follow you. And here's the cool thing. When you get the answers right, they will follow you anywhere. So in this video series, we've talked about how technical skill, it's critical to your business success, no question. But overall, it's more than just technical skills. You've got to have skill and competence in two other areas. It's a three-legged stool, and you need to know about your business and about people also. Technical skills, business skills, people skills. Here's the deal. Your pay is commensurate with the business value that you add to the organization. When you learn more about the organization and what it values, it's as simple as this. You're going to be equipped to add more value. When you add more value, you're going to make more money. So in my next video, I'm going to talk about how to take the next step in your journey. For some of you, you've learned from these videos and you say, oh, I hadn't thought about those areas before, I'm going to start applying them. But stay tuned. The next video, I'm going to talk about how you can go even deeper with some of these ideas. I'm really excited about it. Now, I would love to hear from you. What do you think about this idea about dealing with people? Can you help me? Can I trust you? Do you care for me? I'd love to hear your feedback on that and what impact it's making on your business and your productivity in your work. Send me an email, hotshot@brighthillgroup.com. hotshot@brighthillgroup.com. I'd love to hear how you're using this information or what your thoughts are. Maybe you think I'm wrong. I'd love to hear from you about that too. Looking forward to seeing you next time. And please stay tuned, because as I go forward with this program, I'm going to have other resources that I want to share with you as well. Thanks so much.